Yo, what's up, guys? This is the Anime Plus podcast where we talk anything and everything anime related. We're going to be talking about not just anime, hence the name Anime Plus. We're going to be talking about manga, special news coming out for anime, and even anime culture. So, with that being said, I'm your host for this pod, Aray, and I'm with my co host, Aunn. We're from the ECB Podcast Network. So, if you guys don't know what that is, check us out. We have a bunch of different podcasts, including some NBA ones, some entertainment ones, and you know what? We'll talk about more later on in the podcast. But this is the Anime Plus podcast, and with that being said, Owen, do you want to say anything for this pod?
What I'm gonna say right now is these top fives that we're about to give you guys are pretty much factual. Obviously, they're opinion based, but they're pretty factual.
And this is why I love Owen. So we're gonna get it. We're gonna get into our villain origin arc. Now I'm playing. But I met Owen a long time ago in school. He was a new kid that transferred in, and I know that legitimate sounds like a new anime. It sounds like a plot for an anime, but he's been my guy, and we actually bonded over anime, and he's been my guy ever since.
Yeah,
So
it's honestly crazy. Our first interaction, like the first friend I had was you, and the first conversation was like we got One Piece involved in the first conversation, and that's when I knew it was just
yeah,
I
it
knew
was
I was
wraps
gonna be
after
your
that.
friend. Yeah, for
And I was
sure.
like, that's crazy, anime got that power, the power of friendship. No, I'm just like,
It's true. It's true though.
all right. So, like Owen said, we're gonna go through our top fives in this in this podcast. So we'll start off with the bottom five. So I'll start off with my number five, and then we'll talk about it, and then Owen will go ahead and say his five, and then we'll just go back and forth until we get into the long-awaited number one. So I'll
Yeah.
start off. So also, we had a criteria for this pod for our top five. We're each going to include a new gen anime, which we kind of define as we're just going to say within the last 5, 6, 7 years. That's going to be considered a new gen anime.
Yep.
So starting off strong, my number five is actually that new gen anime. And I kind of cheat a little bit here. I couldn't decide between one anime because, five is such a dense list for so many anime. I've watched over 100. So it makes it hard to pick just one. But I had to pick for my number five. It was a tie between Black Clover and Dr. Stone. So
Doctors. Okay, those are interesting picks.
yeah.
Honestly,
So
I have never watched Doctor Stone, but I can say that Black Clover is such a good anime, and it definitely deserves to be on the top five. And
yeah, man.
especially since it's honestly the best new gen. Like
So
I'm just gonna say
so
it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I do want to label it the best new gen because I agree with that. But the thing about Black Clover is it's got so many moments that just make me shiver. It gave me goosebumps, and that's why it's on my top list. And even though the main character can be annoying, which a lot of fans can agree on this
Yeah.
about, but I don't know, man. The moments that give you goosebumps, I feel like that really makes or breaks an anime. And I think that this really elevates Black Clover to another level. Everybody loves an underdog story, and that's pretty much what Black Clover is,
That is so
right?
true. That is so true. But honestly, people think that Asta is annoying. But personally, I don't think he's annoying. I think he's actually I think he's a really good MC because he's the underdog compared to just gets everything like handed to him basically. If you really think about it, like he's just overpowered. He got the four leaf clover grimoire. Like everything is set for him. He's the prince. Like he's set. And then you got on the other hand, you got Asta that has no magic in a world full of magic, which is just absurd. And then and he turns out to be one of the strongest characters because of his hard work and work ethics, basically.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. And I don't know anyone that doesn't like that type of story. We've seen this be successful in other anime, like Naruto, for example, where
Yeah, for
Naruto
sure.
didn't really have anything, and Sasuke had everything for the most part,
Yeah,
beside
exactly.
a
Literally,
family.
exactly.
He had everything beside a family. How to put that?
No, I
But
like I like when the MC has to struggle a bit because if there's no struggle within the MC, then it's just like, what's the point of the show if the character is like not growing? So that's one of the reasons I didn't like Seven Deadly Sins that much
hmm.
because Meliodas was just OP. Like he really didn't need to do that much. he would just full counter or whatever, and then he would just beat the person. And I don't think that's how anime should be like plotted.
Yeah, yeah. Other than that, like I thought the animation was very lackluster in Black Clover. There were times where it was just completely ass.
That's
Um,
true. That's
it,
true.
it it is a super long anime, so and it's not seasonal like how new gen anime have been.
Yeah.
So I mean, I get it. It's kind of one of the last long lasting anime where it was like week to week episodes, and now it's on hiatus, which hopefully will come back soon. But
Yeah.
and by the way, I don't know if you've heard, but the manga's ending very soon. So yeah,
Yeah, and I mean I keep away from those manga spoilers, but I heard like stuff gets crazy
yeah,
with
yeah.
like his name is Julius, right?
Hey, yo, don't be spoiling,
Or
bro.
like the king.
Oh
Who's
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah,
Wizard King?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
Julius.
yeah. Yeah, so I mean, I heard stuff gets crazy with him, but
Yeah.
okay. So like, how's Doctor Stone? I have not watched that, but I do really want to watch that. Shout out to your
Orig-
brother.
I'm the one that put him on there. You know what I mean?
Okay, okay,
But anyways, Doctor Stone was it's a new gen anime for the most part. I really like it because it's not like a typical battle shonen anime. It's about a guy who like well, let's just say like the world kind of freezes over, everyone turns into stone, and then
okay.
basically he awakens maybe like I don't know like probably I don't know if it was like a million years later, like 1,000 years later, or a couple thousand years later. I think it was a couple thousand years
So
later.
he
So
broke out
obviously,
the stone a
yeah,
thousand years.
yeah,
Okay, okay,
yeah, yeah.
okay.
So he's like a super nerdy dude, but he's not really nerdy, but like he's into like chemistry and science and all that, you know. So his whole dream is to like save the entire humankind and turn everyone that turned into stone back to normal and rebuild civilization. So he kind of like tries to gamify that in the sense that he's like, all right, it's like a video game. We're on
Okay.
level 0, but we're gonna get humankind back to where we were thousands of years ago, right?
Is he the only one? So is he the only one that's
I don't want to spoil if you
Oh,
haven't
true,
seen
true.
it,
Okay. Yeah, true.
but let's just say there is more human interaction, which makes it
Yeah.
so much better. And I rewatched this with my wife, and I think this was her actual favorite anime. She's just getting into anime, so she hasn't really watched legendary anime yet, like the long
Got
running
you.
ones.
Got you.
But
No,
she
it
really
seems
enjoyed
pretty
it.
interesting. I'm already like intrigued. I
Yeah,
want
no,
to know more.
it's awesome. It's funny too. Like they have a lot of jokes and they talk very nonchalant. Like they use slang a lot.
Okay. That's
And
great.
they're just high school kids, but they act like high school kids for the most part. And there's a lot of like tropes that aren't used, which make this show a lot better. So in my opinion, I really liked it. It was funny. It was quick witted, and overall it was great.
I mean, if it's comparable to Black Clover, then we know we got a good show on our hands for
Yes,
sure.
sir. It's definitely different in terms of storyline and plot, but I think overall it was a great anime.
Got it.
All right.
Okay, so for my number five, you're not gonna believe this, but it's also Black Clover. It's Black
Okay.
Clover
Okay.
because okay, so I know there's a lot of good new gen anime out. Like people love Jujutsu Kaisen, people love like Demon Slayer. The thing is, those are like they're like infants right now. I can't like rank them on my top five because they're so short. Like there's no plot to it yet. Like I wouldn't consider it like a developed anime yet. That's why I can't put it on my list. Or else
No, I agree.
obviously like the animations and everything are crazy. But if you've been an anime fan for like a decade plus, like you've watched anime that doesn't have the best anime but has great plot. So you'd rather like for me, plot is way more important than the animation itself. But Black Clover, out of all like the new gen, it has the best plot.
No,
Like
that's fair. Yeah, I mean, we talked about all the other great things in Black Clover. But we didn't talk about its plot. The plot was actually really good. I mean, it was rich. You know what I mean? Like we didn't know anything about Aster, until the very end of where the anime is currently. So, I mean,
100%.
yeah,
I loved how like they implemented magic within like the super power system. Like and then
right, right,
Asta
right.
gets anti magic, which is just like he's always been the outsider. So giving him anti magic was just pristine. Like
Yeah, and it
he
was
goes
badass
against
too.
everything. He goes against everything, literally. And I love like one of my favorite characters is Yami. Yami is just elite. Like the dude, He is the epitome of badass, literally. Like that moment when Yami called to Asta,
Oh
like
my god, that's what I was talking about. Goosebump moment, man.
yeah, that
That was
moment
insane.
was crazy. Like Asta got recognized by Yami. Yami was like, as like he's like, yo, pull up. It was like a moment where like, pull up, my boy. Like he was like that was a good like teacher student relationship
Yeah,
moment
no,
type thing.
that was awesome. Like he was picked off the streets basically. He went to the
Literally,
nobody
literally.
wanted him, and Yami saw something in him,
Yep.
and then yeah, man, it's crazy.
Another moment was when they were trying to kill who the teleportation guy, Finral, I think his name is, and his
I think
brother was trying
that's
to kill him,
yeah, yeah, yep. That
and
was awesome.
then and all three I forget their names because I haven't watched it in so long, but I see the image in my head. It's Lucky, it's the fire dude, and then
Yeah,
the lady, the witch lady that drinks all the time.
yeah, and even Charmy was there too. She was
Oh yeah,
pulling up with her.
oh yeah, Charmy. Yeah, she goes crazy too. Like that moment where they all were like, "Yeah, we will kill you if you like lay another finger on him." Was just that was such a good moment for me.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. Even from episode one, like that goosebump moment was there. Again, I can't remember because it's been so long, but like I think there was like this random like rogue magic knight that tried to attack like or Asta or somebody,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and then
yeah,
that sword came out of nowhere. Goosebump
yeah.
moment,
That was
man.
right in the
And
beginning. That was right in the beginning when he was getting his
yeah,
grimoire, or he
right.
didn't. Did he get his grimoire at that time? I don't.
Yeah, well, basically he got a sword then, so
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yuno already had his grimoire, and then he got
right.
his at that time. No, that anime is just,
Yeah,
it's
if
the
you guys
best.
haven't watched it, you guys need to watch it. It's a little bit long, and animation does tear down a little bit, but overall when the moments are high, the animation is peak, and it's one anime that you need to watch for sure.
Yeah, and
There's no doubt.
like the powers building, it gets like there's always a newer, stronger enemy, and it all just makes sense. It's not like they just keep creating random enemies. Like it says, it's not like that. It's like the storyline is great where it gets to a point where you have like nations like fighting, so like the whole plot becomes way bigger than the actual
Yeah,
one
that's
kingdom
why that's
itself.
why a lot of people compare it to Naruto. We're just gonna
Yeah,
talk on Black Clover for a little bit. We don't want to get too overloaded with Black Clover, but
true, true,
it's the
true.
same. It's the same thing with Naruto. You've got an underdog character that somehow was kind of built to be one of those guys that are the strongest people. They want to be the strongest person in the kingdom or in their, in their village, whatever.
But they
And
gotta
then eventually,
sacrifice.
right, they got to
That's just
sacrifice, and eventually they have to go to war. Blah blah blah. We're not gonna go too much into it, but you want me to go into my top four now?
yep,
My number
yep.
four.
Get it on
All
to your
right,
fourth.
so I'm gonna do a switch of pace over here. My number four is actually a sports anime, and I freaking love sports anime.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I'm really into it. There haven't really been that many great sports anime, but I tend to watch pretty much every single sports anime that I can get my hands on. Um, so I think the greatest sports anime is wait. Before I do that, some honorable mentions are I really like Haikyuu and I love Hajime no Ippo. So those were two that I really like. And right now I'm watching Blue Lock. It's so fire. And maybe
I've
this
a-
one will surpass it, but
I've actually never watched any sports anime, and I
mm,
mean I'd be willing to get into it. I
dude,
know
it's
that,
it's awesome, man. It's obviously there's gonna be a time where it's not really realistic, but it's awesome, man.
bro. Anime is not realistic. Let me tell you that much.
All right, you got a point there. So, anyways, my number four is Ace of Diamond, and
What's
this is
that about?
basically it's basically about this kid that plays baseball, and he gets recruited to this high school where they kind of focus on baseball a little bit, but
Okay.
basically he wants to bring his team to like a national championship, obviously in high school. And you got to remember, Japanese high schools are different than American high schools, where this is kind of like their college year in a certain sense. Not
Oh,
everyone
okay.
goes to college, but
Uh,
yeah, it's definitely a huge feat. But he kind of starts off not really as an underdog, but as kind of like a raw talent and somebody that's got like a lot of heart. So I used to play baseball, and that's why I'm really into this anime because I was also a pitcher. He's a pitcher. He starts off,
oh,
getting
you played
recruited.
baseball?
Yeah, I played baseball for like
Oh,
10 plus years,
nice.
man.
Oh, nice.
And that's why I'm super into this anime. But anyways, he starts off as like a raw talent. Like he gets recruited to this team. He's not even the best pitcher on the team. Obviously, the seniors will take over and they're going to be pitching. But
Yeah,
then eventually, I think that senior gets hurt and he has a chance to become the starter. But there's another freshman with him that joins the team, and this guy is just a menace. Like he's
that's his
throwing
rival.
like that's his rival. Yep, and it's also got that Asta feel, and I think they might like and this other main character, not the main character in this show, but like the rival.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they got the same voice actor. Like it's the same
Oh,
dynamic where
okay.
you got like a loud kid that works very hard, doesn't really have the full talent, versus like the genius. So it's like that same dynamic which we've seen work a million times in anime.
Yeah. I
But
mean that storyline just works so great because
it does.
you love seeing the MC evolve and just keep tackling new challenges that just come towards him, to be honest.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like I don't want to spoil it too much, but basically he starts off as not even a bench guy, and then he eventually becomes screw it. This is going to be a spoiler, but he eventually becomes a starter. So we'll keep it there. But it's just great to see that development.
So
And
basically he becomes Derek Jeter at the end of it.
no man, Derek Jeter's not a pitcher, man. Come on.
I know he's a baseball player. I'm talking about skill level.
I mean, not really. We haven't even got there yet. I think
I'm
the
saying by the end of the
manga's
show, hopefully he gets to
yeah. Hopefully he does. Yeah, the manga
the
hasn't
Hall of
finished
Fame
yet,
level.
but yeah, we'll see. All right, so that's enough for me. You want to say your number four?
Okay, my number four, it's an old gen, but it is Death Note. I don't like
Valid.
Death Note is just too good. Like I would put it higher. I would honestly put it higher, but the thing is, like the top three are like untouchable for me. But Death Note just kept me out of my seat. It was like the it was just a whole like I'm so used to just fighting anime or like shonen anime where they fight. And this was the first anime where the fighting was more intellectual than it was like about power or about strength. It
Yeah,
was
man.
just this anime, and then he had such a good rival with L. And what's crazy is like, can you ever imagine a book from like hell? Like, how does L figure that out? Like, how does he even like?
That's insane. Yeah,
It's insane that he can process. There's a book that's from a different like dimension. To a normal person, that would make no sense. But they gave L and they gave Light such great intelligence, which just made the show so good. It was just is the show was just phenomenal.
yeah.
Did you watch it?
Yeah, of course, man. And it might or might not be on my list later on, but it
Oh my
definitely.
god.
No, I love the psychological animes, and this one is just elite. There's nothing that can really touch that. This, in my opinion, there's a lot of back and forth, and it was just awesome, man. Like I can't put it into words. If you haven't watched anime at all, or if you have somebody like a friend that doesn't watch anime and you want to get them into anime, this is the anime I recommend them to watch. Like I've had a bunch of my friends watch this one first and they loved it. And then some of them didn't get into anime, some of them did, but this one, all of them I can say for sure love this anime. And it's just great, man. It was
So
awesome.
so with me, right? The first anime I always tell people to watch is either Attack on Titan or just go straight into One Piece, right? Because I'm a walking advertisement for One Piece. But this is the anime that people should watch. Like
Yeah, for sure.
beginners.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like a fighting anime. It doesn't have a lot of cliches. It's anyone. I
True.
think anyone can get into like a psychological anime or a psychological show. I mean, I feel like that's why, like, if we go to entertainment, I feel like that's why the show You was really popular because it kind of had those elements as well,
Oh, okay.
and like a few others. But I think anything psychological based is just it's very entertaining, and this one, no doubt, is one of the most entertaining anime out there. You'll be sucked in for all. I think it's like 50 episodes or 30 episodes, how much ever it is. You'll be sucked in for all of it.
I was literally like out of my seat basically watching this. It was like the cliffhangers. It was just it reeled you in so nicely.
It did. It did. All right.
Okay.
Let's get into my number three. So my number three is Naruto.
Okay. The
Naruto is
classic.
yeah, it's the first anime I ever started watching aside from like Dragon Ball and Prince of Tennis that I used to catch on like Toonami back in the day. Saturday
Okay.
night. That was OG.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Naruto was the first one that really got me into like not I don't want to say my nerd phase, but like really got me into like jumping into anime.
Your
I
weeb
watched the
phase.
yeah, a little bit, man. It got me to explore more anime, and one thing about Naruto is just like his mentality and his like willingness to not give up was just awesome. And I was such a loser that I would like any little thing that I did, I would just be like, all right, man, I gotta be like Naruto. You know what I mean? So I had a huge influence over my life
When did
as a
you watch
kid.
it?
Um, I mean, when it first came out, so I must have been like 10, nah, probably like
Yeah.
11,
Okay.
12, 13. You know what I
That
mean?
makes a lot of sense
And then
because
eventually, yeah,
like Naruto itself, it's like the first of all, it's the first anime for a lot of people, right? Honestly, because I'm a One Piece stan, I do trash on Naruto a bit more. And I like Naruto. It's not like I don't like Naruto. Naruto is a phenomenal anime, but um, there's actually so many like it's honestly I would say it's like the godfather of anime. Like people like even the Asta and Yuno situation, it's like pretty much based off Naruto and Sasuke. Like
yeah,
Naruto is one of those animes where if you're an anime fan, you have it's like it's in the Hall of Fame. You have to watch it. There's no way you're not watching it. Um, the um, the character there's so many great characters. The storyline's honestly like when I saw Pain do what he did to the Leaf Village, I was devastated. Like he just erased the whole village, and then Naruto defeated him or whatever. Like that happened, and then it came back. But you don't like when you're seeing Pain like destroy the village, you don't know that's happening. So there's so much like anticipation that it brings in, and the characters you just you get such a great bond with the characters. Like when Jiraiya died, like I was devastated. It's a lot.
yeah. No, Naruto has so many scenes that are like heartbreaking scenes where whether it's people dying or shit happening to Naruto where he just feels like his soul is crushed, but like it just like it. And top of that, like the not musicals, but like the what would you call it? Like the sounds in the back,
The
like
soundtracks, yeah,
soundtracks, dude. Those hit, man. When he's like broken down,
100%, one
and it
hundred
just
percent.
you could feel it too. Like there was a phase of my life when I was like pretty sad. I don't know, but I would just like listen to like Naruto soundtracks of like sad Naruto soundtracks or like sad Naruto scenes, and it would always like kind of cheer me up because I don't know, everyone just kind of goes through it, but Naruto has that effect on me, and that's why I think it's like great. And on top of that, the fights are pretty sick. You know what I mean? Like,
No, the fights
uh,
are honestly the best part for me. The best part of Naruto. There's so many different types of jutsus. Plus, it's like every single person has their own way of fighting. Like you got like a guy that controls shadows, and you got a guy that controls bugs. Like it's honestly crazy how it seems like such a simple like a ninja world, but it's there's so many different
mhm,
powers.
mhm.
And the
Yeah,
fact that the way that they brought in old characters like Madara, and like how they brought in all the old Hokage, how they brought his dad back in, like honestly the war that war was one of the best war arcs that
yeah, it
ever
was
existed.
amazing.
That's honestly like for me it's like top two war arcs. Like you can't really beat that.
Man,
Like there's one
you're
that
right.
beats that, but you can't really beat that. I
Man,
think you know what I mean.
I know exactly what you mean, man.
There's
I
one
know it's
that beats
coming
it.
too. It's coming later in this pod. Trust me, I know exactly what he's talking about.
100%.
All right.
But when Madara just like he devastated everybody, it was just insane. That war was crazy. Okay,
Okay,
so
G. Let's yeah, yeah,
should
go
I go
ahead.
for
Say yours.
my number three?
Yep, go for it.
My number three is Bleach. You ever watch Bleach?
Nah, man. I started watching Bleach. I got
Okay.
to it's probably the only long running anime that I haven't watched. I got to like the Bounty arc, which everyone tells me now that's filler, you can skip
It's
it. But
filler.
like,
Okay, yeah, that's filler.
yeah, I
For,
got through halfway and I just kind of dropped it, man, and never picked it back up.
I'm not gonna okay, so I'm not gonna lie. The amount of filler that Bleach has, it can be put like further down in the list due to the filler. But if you exclude filler, like Bleach has, I don't know. I like old anime. I like fights. I like this. I like raw dog fights. That's pretty much like I love that about anime. And Bleach brings that to like another level. And sword fights especially. Like I love sword fights. And Bleach brings that like to a whole nother level with their with like Ichigo is such a good main character. And the more you learn about him, like I don't want to spoil anything. I want to say there's so much I want to say, but I also don't want to spoil anything because I do really want you to watch the anime. Like,
I'll come around to it. Let me ask you something though. Sorry
what's
to cut
up?
you off, but
Yeah, no problem,
have
no.
you been watching the new Bleach season?
Yes,
Hasn't your
yes,
blood
I
book?
have. Yes, I have.
Is
And
it living up to the hype?
okay, let me say something. Just like episode 1, they kick it off like insanely, right? So as a Bleach fan, right? You think that I see. I want to say something. I want to say you think okay. As a Bleach fan, when you watch to a certain arc, you think that there's no one can get stronger than that. It's impossible for like someone to be stronger than that person. And whoever watched the Bleach knows who I'm talking about. And Ichigo defeated him at the end, and he lost a lot because of it. So you wouldn't think that you would think that the show ends there because there's no one like it's you can't fathom someone being stronger than him. But then this new season that just came out, I haven't read the manga. I know it's already done in the manga, but what I've watched in the anime is straight just action, bloodshed, sword fights. It's just you get it all. It's like if you're trying to see action, Bleach is the move, literally.
Gotcha. What would you say about the plot though? Do you think the plot is as good or not really?
Okay, I love the plot. Okay, the plot, right? It's good, but like for me, right? I love when the main character struggles, and I'm gonna say that like okay, Ichigo does struggle. I'm not gonna say that he doesn't struggle or whatever, but he is built with so much like raw talent that like he just becomes the best at everything very quickly, which I don't know. That's like that shouldn't be real technically because but people say he has the most he has the best ability to learn basically. He has the best potential. Like there's like sections of power in that anime and like his title basically is like the most potential you could say.
Gotcha, gotcha. I mean
But
that seems pretty interesting.
no, he excels in like he starts off not knowing anything to like learning everything and becoming and like just learning everything and the reason he has to do it is because of his friends and whatnot. So it's like it's like the One Piece thing where Luffy becomes really strong within fights. It's the same thing with him. He doesn't train as much, but he fights so many different people and he fights like he keeps upgrading with his fights that he learned so much within his fights.
Okay. Sweet, sweet. That's pretty cool. And I don't know, man. I don't know if I could get back into it, but I'll give it a shot.
I'm
Just
telling
just
you, I'm
because
not gonna lie. Okay, the fillers, there's a shit ton of fillers. I'm not
I'll
gonna
just
lie.
skip that. That's fine.
You gotta skip that. You just gotta skip that. And once you skip that, all the other stuff, like you watch the Soul Society arc. What'd you think about that?
I thought it was pretty good, man. Honestly,
I
it
like
was,
the Soul Society arc too. I loved it actually. How
and
he,
I heard it only gets better from there. So
yeah, literally.
yeah, I gotta check it out. You know me, bro. Like I said earlier in this pod, I've watched over 100 anime, and yeah, I kind of like to watch the new ones that come out every season, and
Wait,
that's why I'm
Val,
so far.
did you watch the Aizen part then?
I mean, okay, so back in the day, I used to have a Shonen Jump magazine.
Yeah.
So in that magazine, when Bleach wasn't done, that was still ongoing in the manga. So I read that, and I don't even read manga now, so it's kind of funny. But I did read that, and I read it out of context. I was maybe 14 years old. I didn't know what the hell I
Oh
was reading,
damn.
but I did read it. So I
Okay.
know what's going on and everything. I know what happens. You know, I
Okay,
even
okay. So you
know
know
a
that
little
like
bit.
Aizen is like super strong and like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
basically the only person that could defeat him was Ichigo.
Right.
That's what I was talking about when I said like you can't even think about someone being stronger than Aizen because Aizen was just so strong and he just kept upgrading and upgrading and upgrading that it seemed like Ichigo had to lose everything, all his power, to just defeat Aizen. And how is there someone stronger than that in this new season? But that's we just got introduced to him actually. This last
Gotcha.
episode we got introduced to him, and he fought Yamamoto, which is actually such a crazy fight.
Bro, you know, I just realized right now.
Yeah.
You're geeking out over your number three anime, bro. I already know when we get to number one. Dude, about to just start talking, bro. Oh man,
You know me at number one, like
bro, bro, y'all ain't ready for this, man. He's already hinted at what his number one is.
yeah.
All right. Let me see my number two. All right.
Yeah. God.
So I go lie. I kind of cheated here again. I had multiple anime as my number two.
Yeah.
One we already talked about, so I'll just kind of gloss over it, and that's Death Note. Death Note, in my opinion, is again, it's one of the best psychological anime out there, and it's just
Yep.
so entertaining to watch. It was nice and short and sweet, and despite what a lot of people say, I think the ending was, it was a good ending. It was called out earlier, and I'm not going to spoil what happened at the end, but I thought it was a good ending.
No, I agree with that. I agree with that.
Sweet, sweet.
I like the ending too, even though most people wouldn't, but I like the ending. He he was getting too ahead of himself. We can say that.
Oh yeah, 100%. All right, so that's the first part of my number two. The
Okay.
second part of my number two is Attack on Titan,
Okay. Okay. I like that.
and Attack on Titan is just I don't know, man. There's times where I don't really like it, but then there's times where I love it. And in the new season, and I'm gonna go ahead myself a little bit over here, but and this is gonna be a little bit of a spoiler for the new season. This is anime only, but there's a group of people called the Jaegerists, and they're basically following Eren Yeager, and I think that they're all badass. I'm on their side, and I think that watching like what Eren does from his perspective, I think it's pretty badass. And I don't know why. I don't know what happens at the end. I don't read the manga, but I'm kind of on his side. And
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed. I'm on his
but
side too. There's a lot of people that aren't though.
yeah, I think it's fun just rooting for like an enemy. Like even going back to Death Note, it was fun rooting for Light, even though like technically he's a bad guy, even though he's like the main character.
Yeah.
But
Technically, he is the bad guy.
yeah, no, I like watching anime from that standpoint. So I guess that's why it's my number two. Plus, the plot is just insane. The animations are crazy. Some of the
Yeah.
stares and faces that they make are just so realistic and scary that it's just freaking awesome. You know what I mean? And I
The
can't wait to see what.
stairs. Yeah. The stairs
Yeah,
itself. Yeah. Sorry about the cutoff, but the
very
stairs
good.
themselves. That's like. That's like they did it so well that only AOT can have those stairs. It's like patented for AOT, basically. Those stairs,
Right,
like the
right, right.
ones, the what was the blonde haired dude? Like, forgot his name, but one of those stairs that he had, it was just like those stairs are crazy.
Yeah, 100%. Man, I don't know. Like, it's so weird that we're judging an anime based off of stairs, but
No,
like,
no, because it's such a prominent part of it. It's honestly
it
like
is. It is.
it's like a trademark of that anime. That's how
Just
like
when shit goes crazy in that show and they make a face like a scared face or like a concerned face or like any type of face, like you feel it as an audience. You feel as if you're like not just watching the anime, but like you're in that. I don't know. I guess you're in that universe. You know what I mean?
yeah, for
And
sure.
yeah, so I'll just leave it at that. I haven't seen the ending. I've heard a ton of people hate it, but again, a lot of people hated the Death Note ending, so possibly I could like the ending of Attack on Titan. So yeah,
Yep.
I'm done with my number two. You want to go ahead and say your number two?
Okay, my number two is actually AOT too, because it is such a
Yay,
good.
let's
It's
go.
honestly so good. Like there's like from the beginning you get the whole like from the beginning you're lost, right? The first episode you're lost, but you're like, yo, who are these big ass giant babies? Like they're just huge, and you've like I've never seen anything like it. Like them living in a closed society. Then you got these big babies coming in, destroying everything. And then the first time I saw Levi in action, oh my god, he just was slicing and dicing. Levi is one of my favorite characters in one other than One Piece. In Attack on
Oh my
Titan.
god, this guy
It's
already thinking about One Piece.
he's my favorite. He's one of my favorite characters because he's a regular soldier. he's like probably 5'4", and he's like destroying. He's destroying the Beast Titan. How does that make sense?
Yeah,
Like,
dude, he fucks shit up, bro. Like he go crazy, bro.
Levi is actually crazy, and then Mikasa, that whole thing, like how she's also crazy because she's an Ackerman. It's just the whole plot of how the power is. First of all, the power of the Titan itself is crazy, and the fact that you can inject someone with Titan serum, that's just like that's honestly mind blowing to me.
Wait, so let me ask you something. So, what do you think about the character development in this anime? I feel like it's one of the greatest ones. What do you think?
Honestly, I love the character development. Um, it seems like Eren changed over time, but to me, I feel like Eren's been the same, right? Like his goal, right, has been the same the whole time. He wants to protect his friends and let them live
It's
a
true.
life that they want. But he doesn't care about the rest of the world. He just cares about his friends. So through his lens, it seems like messed up. Like through other people's lens, it seems messed up. Well, he'll kill the entire world just for his friends, right? Is like the balance isn't there. But the thing is, that's why his mission has been since the beginnings, because him and his friends have been getting tormented by technically the whole world, because no one in the world ever came to save them, even though like now we know that everybody knows about this place. It's not like a hidden secret or something. People know that there's an island full of so-called devils. They refer to them as devils. Like, would you not want like would you not want to do something to the people that call you devils, even though you're normal people? Like,
Right, right,
what do you
right.
think about that? Like,
Yeah, no, I get that, man. You gotta have some fight back, you know what I mean? And everyone else is just sitting there taking it all, getting trapped, like, he even says it like livestock. Everyone's
that
sitting there like
yeah,
livestock, you know what I mean?
they were literally livestock. They're trapped in a cage, and the people from the outside can literally come in, do whatever they want, leave, and just have them like it's not they don't even have to be there. They could just send like think of the Titans as AIs. They got AI, they got NPCs just watching.
Bro.
They have NPCs
NPCs.
watching these livestock. Like that's literally what it is.
No, basically.
It's kind of sad. That's why.
And they're like so like behind in technological like
Yeah,
advancement. They're not living good. They're living very far back into like, the past. Meanwhile, everyone's building up their armies. They're working on high tech gear. They have like these advanced guns and airships, which obviously to us it's not that advanced, but in that
yeah,
specific time, it's a lot more advanced than
100%.
than they have
And
in that engagement. You know what I
they
mean?
literally have like the 1700s one chamber marksman rifles. Like that's pretty much it.
Right, right, right.
Like they need like the thing is they've been tricked for so long, but they have the greatest power, the greatest military power ever because they have the founding Titan and they have the Titans that got released from the wall. So technically, even though they're not technologically advanced, they still have the most military power. But but they like the people from the outside don't didn't want them to know all that. So they were keeping that a secret from them this whole time. And I think that Eren is doing the right thing. Like, yo, if that happened to me and I was in the trenches for that long, and the way out of the trenches is to like fuck everybody up, bro. You, I'm
See,
not trying to like,
I kind of get what you're saying. I feel like this is an anime about revenge. You know what I mean? And sometimes watching these anime characters take revenge is so satisfying, especially when they've been like messed up. Like we said before, they're living like livestock. They're basically watched by these NPCs. You know what I mean? So the theme of revenge here is just. It's so entertaining, and I want to see him get his revenge. Like I don't, maybe I'm just crooked and weird, but I like to
no, you're
see.
not, because I'm worse probably. If you're, yeah, I'm worse then because the
Sweet.
thing is, right? It's not even like they were living like humans. They were living way worse, when they had the best. Like they were the strong. Technically, they were the strongest nation, but they were tricked into being the like um the weakest nation. They were tricked into it,
Basically.
technically. And imagine, okay, so imagine, right? Imagine you're in a Minecraft world and everybody out here has like
Dude.
has like a gold sword, right? And you're fighting
Oh
with
my
your
god.
fists, right? And you're fighting with your fist, and then you realize that in your inventory there's been a diamond sword the whole time. What are you gonna do to the people that have been like what are you gonna do?
Dude,
I'm out here slaying, bro.
that's one crazy ass analogy, man. And it's actually it's on point too. That's the funny part, man.
Like,
Oh my
bro,
god.
I'm slaying villagers. I'm slaying anybody, bro.
All right, man. Let's head over to my number one. All right.
Yeah.
So I did this list recently, but back in the day, I also did like a top 10 anime list when I was, I don't know, maybe like 18, 19,
Can
20.
we compare? Yo, can we compare that really quickly? Do you still have it or no?
Yeah, so I was actually gonna go over my number one.
Okay.
If you could give me a second to look for it, I
Yeah,
definitely
no
got it on my
problem.
notes somewhere.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
anyways, man, this list is dramatically different. Like I don't know what's wrong with me back in the day. All
I
right,
just think
I
that as
pulled
you
it
grow
up.
older, you see the MC's perspective through a different lens
All right,
because you're older now.
all right, you ready for this, man?
Yeah.
All right, my number one anime is fucking Fairy Tale, bro. Dude,
God.
dude, you're laughing so hard your mic blew
Oh
up.
my God.
Yeah, man. I don't
There's
know what
no
it
way.
was, man. I
I,
just liked,
look,
I don't know, man.
I don't know what to tell you.
Again, I was
Like,
18, man. This was, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. It was a long time ago.
look, I
All
tried
right.
watching it. I tried my hardest. I tried for so long because one of my best boys was like, "Yo, watch it, right?" And I'm like, I'll watch it. I'm gonna watch it. Literally, I was watching it for the sake of the dude. I was watching it for Faison. Like, I was not trying to watch it, right? And he just kept telling me, "Yo, it gets better. It gets better. It gets better." And till this day, me and Faison, we clown about it. Like, bro, that show. No offense, but
I don't
that
know,
show
man.
is. I
I,
can't. I
s-
cannot.
I think the thing about it is like while I was watching it, I was enjoying it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I try to keep like my list open minded in the sense that like, what were the feelings I was feeling while watching it? You know what I mean? And it's weird because I still feel like while watching Fairy Tale, it was up there. But the list that we have right now is like the totality of watching the anime. It's not how I felt during the time. You
Yeah,
know what I
for
mean?
sure.
So, like with that being said, the one that
Was
I think
Fairy
is
Tail one of your firsts?
no, it wasn't. That's the
Uh,
thing.
oh,
It was
okay.
a,
Okay.
I don't know. It's just like during that time, it was just, its animation was really good at the time. Like A1 Pictures was
Got
really
it.
good.
Okay.
This is before Attack on Titan came out, so
Okay. Yeah, makes sense.
it does leave a lot to be desired in terms of like
What do you
animation
what
still,
okay,
but
what do you rank it now though? Now.
I don't know if it's even in my top 10. But again, like it made me feel like during the time I was watching it, like I really liked it, you know what I mean? And I still
Yeah.
don't think it's bad, you know what I mean? But after watching so much more anime and like kind of breaking out of that classic trope of like what shonen can be sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I can put it on my top 10 anymore. There's so many other great anime out there, especially with new gens. Like, there's a bunch of anime that's out in the past year or so that are just, blowing my mind. Like so many more sports animes. There's a ton of new like Jujutsu Kaisens,
Yeah, you
Demon
gotta put me on.
Slayers. Yeah, no,
Totally.
I got you, bro. And I'll put everybody else on too. But anyways, let's get back to my number one. So
Okay.
looking at a totality of things, I think my number one is without a doubt it's One Piece.
Yeah, for sure.
And
For
that's just
sure.
because, yeah, like again, on this list while I was watching One Piece, it was my number five. And that's because I didn't get to see the whole perspective. I wasn't caught up to date, of course.
Okay, that's why. Yeah.
But
Okay. Now
now that
that makes a lot of sense.
yeah, but now that I'm up to date, like, dude, the plot is just so insane that like I can't comprehend it sometimes. And there's so many things that I forget. But the more I like refresh on it and the more I rewatch things and the more I link things from like episode 800 to episode 200 or the newest episode for something that happened maybe like 5 years ago in real life time, it's just crazy. And it just makes the show so much better. And like, it's a masterpiece in terms of plot.
Yeah,
I
no.
don't
It
know because
is.
I'm assuming that you're number one. Like you can go ahead and say it,
Yeah, my number one's also One Piece for sure. Like
of
this is
course.
like if you know me, there's no doubt in your mind that that One Piece will be the number one. Like there's no doubt. First of all, One Piece is was my first ever watched anime, right? And I thank my boy Kashif for putting me on to that when we were small. And honestly, because I watch One Piece, I'm not gonna lie, other anime become mid. Like, does that happen to you?
Man, I don't know. Like,
That's why
I
Fairy Tail was mid for me because I watched One Piece and then like I'd be comparing stuff to One Piece.
I like that doesn't happen to me, but I know it happens to a lot of other people. For example, there's so many people that ended up watching like Demon Slayer first, and they see that animation, and then they think every other show is mid. Like their animation
Those
is
are the
so
new
bad that
people.
it's
Yeah, every
yeah,
every
yeah,
new
yeah.
watcher that has watched when the pandemic came out, they're like, "Yo, I can't watch One Piece because yeah, okay." So we got the people that have a lot of excuses before they watch One Piece, or they don't watch One Piece because of all the excuses where, oh, it's too long, the animations are ass. Like, bro, the show came out in 1999. You expect them to have Demon Slayer animations? Like, obviously not. But for its time, even for 1999, I would say it was pretty good.
Yeah,
Like
no,
the animations for
honestly,
1999.
it's still watchable at this day and age. Like again, like I've watched some older anime. I remember like maybe 5 years ago, I watched Hajime no Ippo, which is a lot older anime, and
Yeah,
it's still watchable. One Piece is not even that bad in animation back then. Like it's more like 2D than it is 3D, but it's
yeah,
still watchable. You know what I mean? Like you can watch it. The plot is good enough to carry it through, and the
exactly,
animation
exactly.
isn't bad enough to just kind of like to discard it. It's good enough.
The plot is just so good. Like Oda is just the best writer ever. Like it's just crazy how he can string things from episode 0 to 25 to 23 years later to what we're about to watch now. Like that is just wild. Like if we're gonna talk about it, it's Luffy's fruit, right? Like how did he knew this whole time that Luffy's fruit was not Luffy's fruit? Like that's
Hey,
crazy.
yo, chill, chill, chill. No
I
spoilers, bro.
I know
God.
spoilers. I didn't say what it was, but yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. But the fact that like the way they show power is so good. Like the power, like how they introduced Zoro versus Mihawk, right? And right in the beginning, they showed one of the strongest characters right in the beginning, and they showed how utterly far Zoro was from Mihawk. And then it came to a point where it was a Marine Ford War, and then it showed how far Luffy was compared to the New World because he was going into the New World, and it showed like how crazy the admirals are, how crazy Whitebeard is, like like we could tell that Luffy was nowhere near where he wanted to be, even though we were probably like 500 episodes in at the time.
See,
And
I think one of the best parts is to see Luffy's character development and strength development, not just his, but like the whole crew. Like, of
yeah,
course, you have that like time skip where they get a lot stronger, but also it's like through every single fight they have, they just get stronger and stronger and more capable. And I think that that journey that you go through watching that character development, and yeah, it does feel hell long to watch that happen, is just insane. Like you remember like when he was fighting like Buggy in the first few episodes. Do you remember
yeah,
how like weak he seemed almost?
yeah, literally.
Yeah,
It
and there was
was
like it's crazy, man. Do you remember Arlong? Like that fight was super intense, but
that
apparently
was
like
super intense. Yeah, and then yeah,
right,
apparently the ones in uh
Fishman Island, right?
Fishman Island, yeah, they were Arlong level, right?
Yep,
All of them,
yep.
and
That's
then
exactly where I was going.
yeah, and
He
he took out
dusted
like
them.
50,000
Yep, he dusted
with his
them.
hockey, with his hockey.
It's crazy to see that, and I think that's one aspect that makes One Piece so amazing.
Like One Piece is an anime that you can never predict. I don't care what like I don't care if you're a fortune teller, you will never predict One Piece. Like, do you remember when Kuma was slapping everybody out? Like
Yep,
nobody
yep,
at
yep.
that time knew that Kuma was really slapping them out to like places where they can train and become stronger. Like no one knew that. But then once but everyone was shitting their pants. They were like, "Yo, like everybody's getting thrown away. Everyone's getting like the whole crew is gone. Like what's gonna happen now?"
See, I
And
think
then
one of the greatest things about like One Piece is, like you said before, the unpredictability, the
yeah,
character development, the plot. but also like the MC is not a typical MC in the sense that he does do typical MC things in terms of like fighting for his like comrades, like the Nakaba and all that stuff.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
also he has this like kind sense of justice that isn't like 100% ethical. You know what I mean? Like it's not basic. Like because he's a pirate, he can do whatever the hell he wants. You know what I mean?
exactly.
And
Yep,
he and
yep,
he owns up to that, which just makes it sick. You
yeah,
know what I mean? Like he doesn't need to be like the hero that saves everyone, but he can be if he wants to.
yeah.
He
That's the
doesn't.
aspect of his piracy that goes against being a pirate, but that's his version of being a pirate. He can do whatever the hell he wants, but because he has such a good like, um, you could say radar for justice, he always does the right thing. But at the end of the day, he's still a free man. Like he will never be like he he will never be under a king or something.
Right, right.
He's a free man and he does what he wants, but he does the right thing every time. And that's like the opposite of Blackbeard, you could say. Like he is like the true opposite of Blackbeard,
Mhm.
where they have they both of them have big dreams, and they both want one like technically one goal with the One Piece. Well, we
Mhm.
don't know Luffy's goal yet, technically, because whenever they're about to do it, they're about to say it, it just cuts. Like they never
Dude, you
actually say
know, you know one thing that we didn't even talk about of why One Piece is so great.
what's
The
up.
damn mystery, bro. Nobody knows what the One Piece is
To this day, it's been
to this day. All
to this day, 25 years later, nobody knows what the One Piece
right,
is.
all right. Let's hold up on this One Piece talk. We can for real do like a whole like 2 hour special on One Piece. Let's hold off on this
Yeah,
and let's end this pod and we'll definitely go over this later on in a different pod. How's that sound on?
yeah. No, One Piece. Okay, One Piece. We can talk about it. We can make a whole podcast just off of One Piece. That's how much I love One Piece. But yeah, I think it's time to wrap it up.
All right, man. All right. Thanks everyone for joining us in this pod, the Anime Plus pod. We're on every single streaming service that you can find. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher. We're going to be on YouTube as well. All the links will be in the description. We have a website so you guys can check out our other podcasts featured by the ECD Podcast Network. Again, if you're into basketball, you got to check us out, man. We have some hot takes. We have some crazy let's just call them arguments, and it's fun. And of course we have an entertainment pod where we just reviewed Black Panther, and I'll tell you right now, that shit was crazy, man. We're not gonna say it got the best rating, but the amount of fighting and argument that we got in that pod was fun, man. It was a great pod,
Nice.
so make sure you guys check that out. And again, this is your boy Aray from the ECB Podcast Network, and I'm with my guy Owen. It's been a pleasure to have you guys. This pod is brand new, first episode, but we're gonna have a bunch of things in store for you guys, including we're probably gonna do like a mini new segment in the next pod or maybe in the future. We're gonna have a tons of guests coming over. We're gonna talk not just one single anime. We're gonna talk new gen anime, webtoons, anime culture, maybe even manga. But we've got a lot of things in store. So make sure you guys follow us, keep up to date, and we'll catch you guys on the next pod. Peace.
Peace out.